Week 10 in the NFL is here, and we have the beef up front. Picks and preview of the week. Coming off a very good week for us, Kev, a 5-0 straight up sweep across the board for our picks, one of our better weeks of the entire season. We are now into the double digit weeks. This season is winding down week after week. Thanksgiving will be here before we know it for the triple header. You got the holiday football coming up. But as we say each and every week, teams begin to separate themselves. I think I heard there's 9, 2-7 teams right now. It's pretty wild how bad some teams are. Then you got teams like the Lions going to Green Bay last week and dominating. The Ravens with an impressive performance against a solid Broncos team. The Eagles looking good at times, looking head scratching at others. 49ers starting to get healthy again. So playoff picture starting to shape up. The in the hunt graphic, I think we saw for the first time last week. So we're really starting to rev up here. Week 10, we're back. Welcome back, though. And how are we?
Great. Yeah, it should be another fun week. It's a week-to-week league. Anyone can win, and it's going to be fun to go through these 5 games.
Yeah, so to recap last week real quick, as we said, we both went 5-0 straight up. Both 11-7 overall on our picks. I went 4-1 ATS. I think that was my best week of the season. 1-4 on my totals, though. 0-1 on my dog with the Browns Chargers with another really impressive defensive performance. 1-0 on my lock of the week was an Eagles Falcons money line plus 120 parlay. That hits. And 0-1 on my touchdown of Jamar. You went 11-7 as well. As we said, 5-0 straight up. 3-2 against the spread, 2-3 over under, 1-0 on your dog of the Patriots plus 3.5. That hits. 0-1 on your lock of the Eagles Jags first half over, and then 0-1 on the touchdown of Mostert. That was our first time since we started doing the touchdown parlay that it was an 0 for. But an encouraging week, definitely across the board, going 5-0 straight up. So there's been a lot of dogs winning outright this year, and we were able to nail some picks last week. So we have a big week ahead, and we actually start on Thursday this week. We haven't had many Thursday games on the show this year. But you got the Bengals at 4-5 in a big AFC North game, traveling to Baltimore to play the 6-3 Ravens. 8:15 Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Ravens a 6-point favorite here at home, over under 52.5. Both teams coming off resounding wins last week. Who do you think takes it home this week down in Baltimore?
I'm going Ravens winning by a field goal, 27-24. So the Bengals cover the 6 under 52.5. If this game was being played in the past couple of years, I think I would go the Bengals. But this year, I think things are a little bit different. The Ravens offense continues to evolve and get better. Zay Flowers is coming on, and he's been huge for this offense. He's gone over 100 yards in 4 of his last 5. And then obviously, in addition to him, you still have likely Andrews, Bateman, Mars legs, and then just Derrick Henry who can run through, around, and over anyone. The Bengals offense has also been playing really well lately, with Burrow completing 70% of his passes for 20 TDs and only 4 picks so far this year. And the Ravens secondary is very concerning because I think Burrow could be in for a big day. But I'm going to go with the Ravens because I think their roster's a little deeper and more complete.
Yeah, fun one here for Thursday Night Football. As I said kind of at the beginning, we haven't had many Thursday night games this year. Bengals, I'm not going to call it a must-win, but they needed to stay in the hunt for a wild card spot at this point. It's going to become really hard if they don't find a way to win this game. They might have to win after this. If they lose this, it'll be 4-6. They'll probably need to go 7-1 or 6-1 the rest of the way to get in. I would think at 10-7 to feel at least good. Maybe you can drop another one and go 9-8 and get the 7 spot. But it's going to be hard because there's a lot of teams. We'll talk about the Steelers next. The Chargers are in there as well. Broncos at 5-4. The Colts at 4-5 are still kind of flirting in there. A lot of teams in the mix there. So this is a huge one for the Bengals. If they're able to get this one on the road, they're certainly right there. Not just in the wild card picture, but in the division picture. You look at the Ravens, they would fall to 6-4. See what the Steelers do this week. They could fall to 6-3. But Ravens need it as well to kind of stay on pace with those Steelers there in the AFC North. Lamar has been awesome this year, though. He's the MVP in my book, and as of right now. And Joe Burrow had a great week last week, 250 yards and 5 touchdowns against the Raiders, albeit, but still, that's a really good week. Baltimore has been great, though, at home under Harbaugh during his tenure, dating back to 2008 when he took over. They have a 99-41 straight up record at home. That's the third best record in the NFL over that time. Night games in Baltimore always feel a little bit different as well. So I think we have a close one, a tight one, a high scoring one. But I'm going to take the Ravens to get it done, but I will take the Bengals to cover. I'll go Ravens 31, Bengals 28. So Bengals +6 and the over 52.5 in there. All right, we fast forward to Sunday now. We will not be covering the Giants-Panthers game at 9:30 a.m. in Germany, but we will get to a really intriguing 1 o'clock game on CBS. And it's one of those games that I always say, like, who would have thought that this would have been one of the 5 kind of headliner games of the week at the beginning of the year? But hat tip to both these teams. They've had a really good start to the season. That's the Steelers at 6-2, traveling to DC to play the 7-2 Commanders. 1 o'clock kick on CBS. Commanders 2.5-point home favorite here, over under 45.5. I think Washington protects home turf in this one.
No, I have the Steelers winning a super close one, 21-20. So they cover the 2.5 and under 45.5. Both teams are with a doubt exceeding any expectations they had coming into this season, especially the Commanders, the rookie QB, new head coach. But Jaden Daniels has been awesome. I'm very excited to see how he will fare against this elite Pittsburgh defense. He has not faced a lot of high-end defenses in his rookie year so far, and the one you can kind of point to is the Bears, and they did win that game on that Hail Mary, but his team only did put up 18 points, and 6 of them came off that Hail Mary. That being said, he was able to move the ball throughout the game, throwing for 326 yards, but they weren't able to finish drives as the Commanders had 5 field goal attempts in that game. I really like the Steelers' defense, though. They're forcing nearly 2 turnovers a game and also have the second best turnover margin in the league. And Russ has played really well and is playing complementary football with the running game and that elite defense. I think the Commanders' defense has been playing better, but I think the Steelers are going to make more plays on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you get Mike Tomlin as an underdog in this spot, too. Since 2008, when he took over in Pittsburgh, he has 50-47 straight up as an underdog, winning 51.6% of the time. That is 11% better than the next closest team in the NFL and the Chiefs. So he's first there. And he's also 58-34-5 against the spread as an underdog, covering 63% of the time. That's also the best in the NFL. So Mike Tomlin, underdog spot. It kind of feels almost like the Detroit Lions at this point, where it's like a auto bet against the spread. So I think you can see where I'm going here. I'm going to go with the Steelers as well. A great historical spot with so much data there. Mike Tomlin knows how to motivate his team and get his team ready to play in these type of games. And while the Commanders have looked good, you said it, Kev, they've kind of struggled in the past couple of weeks, I think. The offense hasn't looked as good as it did in the early going, and still it's a rookie quarterback. He's playing a really experienced, good Steelers defense. TJ Watt, Mike Tomlin probably throws some looks at him that he hasn't seen before. I think Washington could be due for a slip-up. They have a game that I'm probably looking forward to next week for first place in the NFC, most likely. First place in the NFC East, most likely with the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm going to take Washington and have a slip-up here and have TJ Watt make a couple big-time plays, make his presence felt, and get a big-time road win to move to 7-2. I'll go Steelers 23, Commanders 20. So Steelers +2.5 win outright and under 45.5. All right, third game of the week, AFC West matchup, the 5-4 Broncos at the 8-0 Chiefs as they remain undefeated after a Monday Night Football win over the Bucs. 1 o'clock kick on CBS. Chiefs 8.5-point favorite here. Over under is 41.5. Will the Chiefs remain undefeated after this week, Kev?
Yeah, I think they do, winning 24-17. So the Broncos cover 8.5, under 41.5. I really wanted to pick the Broncos, as the Chiefs, I think, could potentially be overlooking them. They almost always beat the Broncos, and they have a big game against Buffalo next week. The Broncos have a very good defense that they can definitely keep this game close. And if you just keep playing in a bunch of close games, I feel like it's bound to come back and bite you at least once, and the Chiefs could end up losing. But I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Kansas City is winning with their elite defense. They're also converting on over half of their third downs. They're only one of 2 teams in the league doing that this year. And then Patrick Mahomes just seems inevitable to win every game. I'm also not super high on Bo Nix, so I will take Mahomes at home here.
Chiefs, as you said, just kind of continue to find ways to win. Not pretty, not blowouts. And I am interested, as you were saying, like, does that come back to haunt them down the line. Like, you can't just continue to play with your food every week and expect to get away with it. I didn't watch snap of that Bucks game but for a Bucks team that's as beat up as Tampa Bay is right now, to go to Arrowhead and take the game to overtime, and should have gone for two probably from what I've heard. At the end of regulation, for that to be a close game, like, I'm not going to say I'm concerned because it's the Chiefs and we've seen the track record with Patrick and Andy, what they've done, but they haven't had much convincing wins. And, week one was the Ravens, so you can kind of throw that out the window because they're so early in the season. I'm interested to see how the Chiefs fare in these next coming weeks over the second half of the year. And then obviously once they get to the playoffs, you can't doubt them. They'll be the favorite regardless, but I think you can make an argument like the Bills and the Ravens at their peak have looked better than the Chiefs this year, but it doesn't matter as they continue to just put wins in. Last year, the Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9, but before that, the Chiefs had won 16 in a row against Denver. It's a rivalry that they have dominated for many years now, especially with Mahomes at the quarterback spot. I say they start another winning streak on Saturday and find a way to get it done, but the Broncos do find a way to keep it within that 8.5 number. I'll go Chiefs 27, Broncos 20. So Broncos plus 8.5 in the over 41.5. All right, to a team we just talked about, the Buffalo Bills, sitting there at 7-2. Going to Indy to play the 4-5 Colts, see if they have any Flacco magic left. 1:00 kick on CBS. The Bills, a 4-point favorite. Over under is 47.5.
Yeah, I'm going Bills winning 24 to the Colts 17. Bills -4, over 47.5. I hope this is not one of those Bills dud games that it seems like we get a couple of every year. We saw them against Houston and Baltimore more earlier this year. I did agree with the Anthony Richardson benching, and I think we all knew Joe Flacco can be very hit or miss. He has been that way his entire career, and now as a 39-year-old backup. I just don't think the Colts will get blown out, though, as they've lost every game this year by less than one possession. The Colts have struggled to find a QB since Luck retired, and if it keeps coming back to bite them here, Josh Allen has been playing really hot as of late, and I think he takes advantage of a pretty average Colts defense.
Yeah, I'll keep this pick simple for me. I think the Colts are kind of out of the Flacco magic right now. And I think that's going to get exposed against these better teams. There's a reason why Joe Flacco's still back up. He'll go out there and have a couple eye-opening performances, but if he was that good, I think he would have been brought in to be someone's starter this offseason. The Bills, when they've been at their peak, have arguably looked like the best team in the league. I was really close to making this my lock of the week, but I think that they go out there and dominate this one. I go Bills 27, Colts 17, so I will take the Bills -4. In the under of 47.5 hitting there. All right, final game of the week, Sunday Night Football. This is a good one. When at their peak and at their power, I think you could say that this is a potential Super Bowl matchup. And that's the 7-1 Lions at the 6-3 Texans. 8:20 kick on NBC Sunday Night Football. Lions 3-point favorite here. Over under is 48.5.
Yeah, I'm going Lions 30, Texans 24, Lions -3, over 48.5. The Lions just continue to play top-notch football. I don't really see how you can pick against them. They can just beat you in a million different ways. Jared Goff has just 17 incompletions in his last 5 games. And every game this year, the Lions' rush and attack has gone over 100 yards and scored a TD. They can do it through the air with home runs or possession and on the ground with physicality and speed. The Lions can just do it all. Houston has not looked as people would expect this year. It seems like it's up in the air as well for Nico Collins and Will Anderson Jr. to return. If they do, obviously that's big additions for them, and I think will help them going forward. But the Lions are just playing like the best team in the NFL, and I just can't see myself picking against them against anyone at the moment.
Yep, you know my rule. Do not bet against the Lions against the spread. Do not bet against them straight up. Just don't bet against them right now. It's not a winning formula. They've been dominant straight up and against the spread this season, and even going back a couple of years now, at least against the spread, they've always been awesome under Campbell, but they've also been awesome just straight up these past 2 years. And it's really kind of cool to see the way that they've molded that program and that franchise into what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes wanted to build, and they're looking like a juggernaut right now. This year, though, the Lions have been so dominant straight up and against the spread. They have a 13.8 point per game margin of victory straight up, and are covering by 9.3 points per game against the spread as well. Just dominant numbers in that regard. Texans are in shambles right now. Watch that game against the Jets last Thursday. Really struggled to protect. And they don't have their pass catchers outside right now, obviously, with Diggs out, Nico Collins. Stroud has been struggling. They've been struggling to protect him. The Lions' defensive line is probably the weakest point of that team right now in the pass rush without Hutchinson. But I just still think the Lions are going to be able to go down to Houston and find a way to win this game until the Texans have some of these pass catchers back. Diggs won't be back this year, but it's going to be hard to manufacture offense consistently for them. So I'm going to take the Lions to win and obviously to cover there. Get to play indoors as well for Jared Goff. That's always a plus. I'll go Lions 27, Texans 20, so Lions -3 and the under 48.5. Our final picks, our dog of the day, our lock of the week, and our anytime touchdown scorer. I'm going to start us off with our dog of the day. I'm actually going to go with the Patriots at +6 at the Bears. The Bears seem to be broken right now. However, they do have the longest home win streak in the NFL, but I'm not convinced that they're blowing any teams out. I could see it being a frustrating game, like a slow, ugly first half for the Bears, and they find a way to win it late on a field goal or a Drake May interception, something like that. But the Pats are still able to keep it close and within the number. So I'm going to go Patriots +6 at the Bears and kind of ride that the Bears are going to continue to struggle this week.
Yeah, my dog of the day, I am going Bucks +5.5 against the Niners. Tampa took the Chiefs to the limit, and Baker just always seems to play every game like it's his last. The Niners have been favored in every game this year, and they've only won 4 outright. So I'm going Bucks to cover 5.5 against the Niners.
My lock of the week, I'm going to go Lions Chiefs moneyline parlay. This one comes in at -106. We talked about both games, but I like the Lions obviously to go to Houston and win. And Patrick Mahomes has dominated the Broncos throughout his career. They had won 16 straight before dropping one to them last year. I think the Chiefs keep it rolling, go to 9-0, and I think the Lions also keep it rolling to go to 8-1. So you parlay those two on the money line together and you get a little -106 payout for my lock of the week.
Yeah, my lock of the week, I am going Falcons -3.5 versus the Saints. I'm not buying into the new coach bump. The Saints are a bad team, and Kirk has been playing really well as of late.
Yeah, I was tempted to take the Falcons as well. I really like that one. If you want to add maybe a third leg to my money line parlay, I would consider adding that one in too. Anytime touchdown score of the week, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, -105 against the Jaguars. The Jags were kind of exposed by Devontae Smith a couple times last week on some deep balls. A.J. Brown was out of the game, but I think if he played the entire game, he could have caught a couple deep passes as well. All it takes is one for Justin Jefferson, but regardless, he's going to get his targets across the middle of the field and underneath. He can make the plays with the ball in his hand. So nice matchup there against a pretty bad Jags secondary. I'll go Justin Jefferson at -105 for my anytime touchdown.
Yeah, my anytime touchdown is Drake London +135 against the Saints. He scored in 4 of his last 5, regardless of how many targets he's been getting each game.
All right. Well, that will do it for week 10. As we said, just in a few weeks, we'll already be at Thanksgiving. Pretty wild there. But as always, everyone, please like, subscribe, and we will talk next week.